a very warm welcome to the Flora Society 2024. So firstly, thank you for joining me, especially if you are joining me for another year, or maybe this is your first time on the Flora Society. And what you're going to receive is a quarterly parcel, so one for every season. And this year, our theme will be fruit. So this is the spring box that I'm about to unbox. And then what I'm going to do is go through all the techniques with you that apply to the projects and the patterns that are within that box. I will upload a video for everyone, so you'll find that a few days after your box arrives, the video will be live here. And how you find your way back to these videos is scanning the QR code that is on your welcome card here. So this is the only place that you'll find them. It's not that they'll be on our normal YouTube channel. They'll just be on this one location. It's a private space, so you can come and watch the videos here. So let's unbox. So firstly, what you will have included, and this might have come if you were an annual member, this will have come before Christmas if you subscribed then, but this is your membership pin for this year, and that completes the set of 3. It's not that we're going to do Flora Society for another year. This is its last and final year. So you'll have had the first one for flowers, the second one for veg, and this is your final one, which is for fruit. So if you have subscribed, or if you want to subscribe now, because there are a few boxes left, you will be able to get hold of that pin. So next, what you'll have inside is 2 little packages, and this time round the biggest one for me is the most exciting one. This one is for the pineapple. So inside this bag you'll find you've got camel yarn, you've got yellow, and you've got green, and this is the project that you will be crocheting with the contents of this bag. But because it shares the same colours, you've also got a project this time round for the Physalis in there too. So you'll have another little project, different techniques in this one, as we practice all those different lengths of stitches. So that'll be in that one. And then on the side, because this is our tropical box, obviously here in the UK, we're not seasonal to have any seasonal fruit right now. So I decided to go tropical in first. And then as we go through the other seasons, we'll enjoy the ones that are ripe at that period of time. So you've also got a slice of lime. So your three fruit projects for this box will be your pineapple, your slice of lime, and your Physalis there. Then you've also got, because I couldn't resist, after I know how popular Milton was last year, Milton the worm. So in here, you've got a new little project sitting in a separate bag. This is Tennyson the Ant. So you'll have a ball of cocoa and some safety eyes so that you can put together your little mascot for Flora 2024. Should be joining Milton the earthworm and then Sylvia the caterpillar as your little mascot to take you through the next few boxes. Right, without further ado, let me go through the techniques, because there are some quite unusual ones in this box. You're definitely going to need to know all of your crochet stitches. So with a few of the designs, the pineapple leaves included, you're going to be testing out knowing your slip stitch, double crochet, half treble, treble, double treble, and triple treble. So we're going to go right the way through all the different stitches in what is a very unusual construction to put this together. So the first thing that I just want to go through is working into the back loop only. So this is on the base of your pineapple as you start from the bottom. There'll be a round where it says to work into the back loop only. And so all you need to do is to go in here. So you're just going, rather than going beneath the whole side of the V, underneath both like we normally would, you're just going to go into the back only. And then you just carry on doing the pattern as normal, but every single stitch you just do into that back one. So the most important thing to talk about when we're doing the pineapple and what's going to be essential is making sure that you are colour changing correctly, because what we're actually doing is changing colour to put these camel patches in. We're then going to be doing something fancy with chains as well. But first things first, let's make sure that we're colour changing correctly to get these patches in the right place. So what your instruction will say is to double crochet 3 yellow. So you need to do 1, 2, and then in your 3rd yellow, because that's your last one where you're going to be swapping to your other colour, your camel, what you need to do is finish off that 3rd yellow stitch with your camel, and then you do 1, 2, and then an increase on the end. And because that then is your last camel stitch, At the end of your camel stitch, you're going to be swapping back to yellow. Now, the most important thing when reading the colour change instructions, and this goes for all of my patterns, it isn't just specific to Flora Society, is read the whole instruction and then the colour that those instructions are in will be after it. Imagine putting an in before the colour. So it might say double crochet 3 and then it would say camel. Imagine that there's an in there. So it'd be double crochet 3 yellow. So 1, 2, and 3 yellow. So that means we need to swap back to our camel to finish off that 3rd yellow stitch, because then it will say double crochet 2, double crochet 2 into next stitch in camel. So 1, 2, and again on that last stitch of camel, you need to swap back to your yellow to make sure that your colour changes will land in the right place. So carry on following those instructions. I'm now just going to go ahead to the point where we're putting these extra chains in. So the next part of the pattern that I just want to clarify is how we create these bracts. So how we're going to chain up to create these spikes effectively that come out of the pineapple. Now I've just done a bit of a test piece here. So yours will be flat off as you go off the bottom. I've just quickly done it so that I can show you this round in particular off the bottom of here. So what you need to do is you'll be double crocheting 3. So in your camel, you'll be double crocheting 1, 2, 3. And then chaining 4, and then you'll be slip stitching back down. So 1, 2, a double crochet, and then slip stitch into your bottom, and then double crochet the last 2 stitches like that. So what I'm going to show you now is what you'd be doing on the round after that one. So you'll have the round where you put all of these spikes in with those chains, and then you'll come back round again and you'll be doing a round on top of that. And that's the one that I just want to clarify here. So what you will need to do is you'll be double crocheting in your camel 1, 2, 3, and that's before you get to that one that you chained out of. Just pull that spike forward and ignore it. So leave it to one side like that, and then you'll have 2 stitches, 2 clear stitches of camel remaining on that side, and they're the ones that you want to be working into. So you just ignore that stitch that you chained out of before. So that's how you'll do the round that sits above it, and that will leave you with these spikes coming out the surface of your fabric like that. Don't panic when you see them curving. What we'll actually do at the end, which I'll just show you now, is we will be sewing those in to secure them. So carry up the full length of your pineapple, and there's nothing else technique wise to show you other than to say it is quite demanding. Obviously it's got colour changing, and it's also got increasing and decreasing despite the fact that it stays on the same number of stitches, and that's just because we're taking away stitches in the yellow sometimes and we're adding them into the camel. So it is quite a challenging one. Just take it nice and slowly. It's a nice satisfying repeating pattern. The only thing really to mention is when it asks you to move your stitch marker, that's just to stop the maths getting very complicated in each round. I am occasionally resetting where your round starts and finishes just to knock it over a little bit, so you've got a nice repeating round of colour changing rather than having to start your round off halfway through. So when you've finished your pineapple body, so the fruit as such, put the stuffing in and gather the stitches as normal at the top, and then just to secure these into place, all you're going to do is use one long length of thread in your camel and literally just tack the ends up directly like that. So come through, tack the end up, and that'll just give you the finishing touch to that texture, because all those spikes will come up the centre of your colour change diamonds. Right, so that's the body done. Now it's time to move on to the leaves, and it is the same technique, so using lots of different length stitches, that we're going to be using for the Physalis as we are using for the pineapple. Now, what I would say is if you are not as confident in crochet, maybe you're quite new to this, you might be better off going for making your Physalis first, so you practice it on that before you then move on to your pineapple leaves, because it is the same techniques but a bit more demanding when we're doing the pineapple leaves. So do that one first, then come on to this one, because it has got a rather unusual structure that I'll take you through now. Right, so when it comes to making your leaves, whether that's for your Physalis or whether it's for the pineapple, you're going to need to know all the different length of stitches. So I'm firstly going to demonstrate those, then I'll actually go through the structure of the pineapple leaves to bring those together. Or the crown, basically all the leaves together form the crown that sits on top of the fruit. So you're going to be asked to do a lot of chaining here. And that's because with the pineapple crown structure, what you're actually doing is you're going to be making a very, very long chain, and then you're going to be working all of these back down that chain. So you'll be doing a long chain, and then you'll be crocheting up and down, back down that chain to get back to where you began. So let me just show you the stitches so you've got all of those in one place before we look at that. So once you've done your chain, let's look at a slip stitch first. So the slip stitch, you go back in to the next chain along like that, yarn over, bring it through that one, and then through the one that's on your hook. So that's a slip stitch, that's the smallest one. Then a double crochet, you go in the stitch, yarn over to the point where you've got 2 loops, yarn over and through the 2 loops. So that's a British double crochet. Obviously these are British crochet terms, not US crochet terms. So if you are used to working in US terms, worth watching this video before you start, really just to recap. Then a half treble is the next tallest one. And on a half treble, we go round our hook first. We go in the stitch, yarn over to the point where you've got 3 loops on your hook, yarn over and come through all 3 in one motion. So that is a half treble. Then a treble, same thing. So go round your hook first once, in the stitch, yarn over to the point where you've got 3 loops on your hook. But this time, rather than going through all 3 at once, you yarn over and come through the first 2, and then yarn over and come through the next 2. So that's a treble. Then on to the double treble. So like it says, the double treble, you go round once and twice. That's how to remember it. It's a double treble, so you're going to go twice around your hook, go in the stitch, yarn over. So then you'll have 4 loops on your hook, and you need to yarn over and take them off in 2s. So first 2, yarn over again, next 2, yarn over again, and the last 2. And then the final stitch you'll need, which is the tallest, is the triple treble. What you're going to do is go around once, twice, and 3 times. So 3 times round your hook before you start, back in, yarn over, and then take them off in 2s again. So the same as the double, you're just doing that extra step of doing 1 extra wrap at the start. So take them off in doubles like that. And that is the theory of how we're creating these leaves, is we're taking advantage of all these different stitches to create the structure back down that chain. So what you're going to do to create this crown is you're going to chain that long length of chain right the way to the end, and then you're going to be working back down that, chaining up, working back down that, chaining up, working back down that. So just using those stitches that I've just demonstrated there. And this is what it will look like by the time you get back to where you started. Then what you need to do is fold them together. So taking the first 2 that are closest to your hook at that point, you've got a wrong side and you've got a right side. So you see there, your wrong side looks bumpy, your right side you can more see the fronts, the V's of those stitches. So you need to fold them wrong sides facing each other so that your right sides are out on both leaves. And then all we're going to do is slip stitch back to the end. So you folded it in half and that gets you in here. What you need to do initially is just to slip stitch yourself across to get back to the edge, because then what we're going to do is double crochet right the way around the edge of both leaves. And this is going to force this long chain piece to actually curve up on itself, and it will make these leaves double thickness, so they actually stand up rather than curve over. So once you're back at the end, all you need to do is double crochet around the edge. So go right the way around the edge. Once you get to the tip, come back down the other side. And then once you get back to the bottom like that, we're going to do the same thing again. So take the next 2, fold them together like that. And then you'll have to do the same thing. So you'll have to slip stitch across the tops first to get to the edge, and then you can come back along the edge. So fold the next two over with the right sides facing outwards like that. Slip stitch across the tops of them to get to the end again. And then double crochet around the edge, putting the two pieces together like we did before. So all you need to do is carry on like that. You'll be joining them in pairs right the way through until the last two, which you don't double up. So they will remain single, the last two. And then all you do is you want your longest ones on the inside to form the pineapple crown. So you'll just fold them up with the longest ones on the outside like that, wrap them around each other, and then you've got a colour changing point on the top of your pineapple that you can sew that directly onto to finish it off. So you'll just gather them together at the bottom like that, and then sew that into place to finish off your pineapple so that your leaves curve up beautifully like that. So that's the finished effect, just so you can see it. As I said, these are the two shortest ones that remain single, not doubled up. And the others are those doubled up sides with your right sides facing, just gathered together on the bottom and sewn into place. So the final thing really to mention is whether you're choosing to do ripened or ripening. So you have got enough yellow to be able to do yourself your Physalis and then do yourself a yellow pineapple. Or if you want to, you can actually do a ripening pineapple as well. So using this, you'll be able to put the lime in if you want to, just so you've got a bit of a gradient of colours there as it's a ripening one. The choice is absolutely yours. Last thing to mention too is you will have enough camel to be able to put legs on your pineapple should you wish. So if you are somebody who enjoys putting legs on your fruit and veg, you will have enough camel left to be able to put legs on your pineapple, and maybe even on your little Physalis if you want to. All that I'll show you a close-up on is when you are sewing it up. What I've done is I've sewn the head to the body and to the head to the abdomen, should I say, and I've sewn this at a slight angle like that, just so you can get a good close-up look at the angle that I've sewn that ant together. I really hope you enjoy making that little one too, and it makes you smile. Have a fantastic time doing all the techniques, and I will see you again for doing our next box in the summer, believe it or not. So 3 months to go until the next one. Please share your pictures as you do put your fruit together. I hope that a lot of you have allocated a bowl like I have, that as we go through the next year, I'll be finishing off my fruit and I'll be putting it all in a bowl together.